I dug up 8 of the hardest English accents from all over the British Isles. These are the accents that I, as a Brit, can struggle to understand, which means you probably don't stand a chance. But we will see. Pay close attention and you can tell me how many of these English accents you can understand.
I turned in too early. I literally turned into this left hand here. I turned in there too early and I hit the rock face there. There used to be a rock face there. Yeah. I hit that. I hit then on the right hand side of the road and then I hit this here.
Is it Northern? Is it Irish? I'll tell you what it is. The dialect of an old smuggler's den. See, back in the day, there was a lot of dodgy money passing through here, although in the mid-1600s, very few of the locals actually spoke English.
It's a bit fresh out there, bye.
Some of the ancient influences you heard here were Gaelic and Old Norse, and if you heard a little bit of Liverpool in there, you're not wrong. But this area had all sorts of fascinating rulers, from feudal lords to Irish missionaries and Norwegian Vikings.
Right there, you say. Got any skeet? It's blowing a hoolie out there, you say. Ah, that's mighty. Traveller.
This is the historic dialect of English spoken in the Isle of Man, smack bang between England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. It's one of the British Isles and belongs to the Crown, although technically not part of the UK. Until the 19th century, most people here spoke a Celtic language called Manx.
As SUPERCHARGE for du fagan and Dare and Casla, Jana Cregan on shore.
And yes, they smuggled some phrases into the local English. No wonder the Manx accent is so cool.
Them things, you know, the things, the dangle and that, but I didn't go, I just sort of stayed at the, you know what I mean, did I?
If you're going to get one accent from this whole video, this is the one to get, so enjoy the victory while it lasts. It was named after a stew that sailors used to like, and Scandinavians happen to have a stew by the same name. So, Vikings, anyone?
How do you say a book? How can I have a chicken in the breakfast?
You can have a chicken in the breakfast if you ask for chicken in your breakfast.
It used to be a small fishing village full of sailors and traders and Irish and Welsh, and this is hilarious. A linguist from the 1890s believed that those nasal sounds were because everyone was always sick. It is, of course, the Scouse accent of Liverpool.
You can spot a Scouse girl from wherever you are.
They're amazing!
Bright, unique, different, over the top.
And as for the stew, well, it was probably also eaten by the likes of John, Paul, Ringo and George.
I look beyond dreadful because I've not been out for a very long time. I went out and I'd not eaten and I drank way too much and I didn't layer the drinks, I mixed them.
Now here is an accent with tons of character. The locals, of course, well, they think that everyone else is speaking English wrong. There's a big old seafaring history to this particular accent, from the Nordics, from Europe and the Baltic states. And there were Dutch and Finnish settlers too. Wait, Baltic? That's right. See, through the 1800s and all the way to World War II, it was a transit port for Baltic and Eastern European refugees and migrants. Even the guy who wrote Robinson Crusoe was inspired by this place. Sometimes they speak so fast that half the letters just get left out. But out of all the English accents and dialects, you won't hear more obvious traces of Old English than right here, like the Scandinavian word bairn, or is it banes?
Oh no, there's snow on the road. And that's a severe weather warning. And the other one is, Mamma Mia! And that's telling your mother you've arrived.
That's right, I'm talking about a place called Hull, or is that Ull? See, Hull is in Yorkshire, but this one-of-a-kind accent is very different from the usual Yorkshire twang that you might know. The real sound changes began in 1299 when King Edward granted them a royal charter, and from that day on, Hullians got to do things their own way. And if you like to do things your own way, well, here's something you can do. You can click these 3 buttons any old way you want to, because you won't regret it. It really helps us out, and we're planning some exciting new videos that you won't want to miss.
We have the most beautiful beaches in the world that are equivalent to the Maldives, some of them, because of how clear the water is. Very dramatic landscape. We've got hills, sea, lochs, a whole lot of sheep. But I love it. I love where I live. I wouldn't change it for the world. And that's what makes me me, is my very strange accent.
A place of wild weather, beautiful beaches and sheep, she says. If you're fascinated by the mysterious stone circles of the British Isles, you'll find good ones here. More than 50% of the people speak Gaelic. And when they speak English, it's with this beautiful lilting accent that sounds, to some people's ears, more like Irish than Scottish, but really this accent is in a class of its own. If you hear something weird like this, That puffing sound before the letter is pronounced is a very old and rare feature that only a few languages still have, mostly around the Arctic Circle, so they must be related. Wait, Blackfoot? But that's a Native American language. Very mysterious indeed. And the accent is from the Outer Hebrides, an island chain off Scotland. See, people here speak with a stronger Celtic accent than anywhere else because it was one of the last areas that the English arrived at.
The landscapes of Scotland inspire me every day, and I really hope my bakes inspire you to get back in the kitchen and to visit our beautiful Hebridean islands.
From the very early Viking days, the Hebrides went under Norse control for hundreds of years before Scottish clan chiefs got ownership in 1266. But they spoke Gaelic, not English, and the school kids only started learning English in 1906.
When they got like all they come out of school, 4 o'clock, he got down to the field and watched them. See them coming in there, they was in there, our rabbles. He walks in. Of course, they got no other way, they couldn't go back. They goes down out the gap, trips their bake, and they went in the stuff. In the stomach, he blowed his whistle. That gave the woman know that, what's the hurt come out? Oh, the poor kids, they was mud all over.
This wholesome, charming accent is very warm and melodic, and it goes all the way back to the Saxon dialects of a certain medieval kingdom, and you can almost still tell the tribes apart from town to town, although there's a bit of mystery around the exact details. It's not just Saxon, it's also full of Celtic, Latin, Welsh, and Cornish influences. These guys were once farmers and fishermen, and there were swashbuckling pirates and smugglers hiding in the coves. Yet somehow, those Danish Vikings missed the entire area.
What that dog is guarding is strictly between Professor Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. I shouldn't have said that.
I'm talking about the West Country accent of England, which is more dialect than accent, to be honest. Out here, people use all sorts of strange expressions like collywobbles and scrumpy, and they say weird things like I be instead of I am. But the thing that they're really famous for is a very distinctive twang in which they roll their R's, just like the Scots. And you know what? Everything you think they're saying wrong is actually right, because this dialect is the remains of the language of King Alfred himself. Cool story, huh? And if you enjoy stories like this, well, I can't teach you English accents, but I can teach you a beautiful new language with stories, because here at StoryLearning, we teach languages with stories. It's the absolute best way to learn a new language. Stories is how we make a sense of the world, and it's how we can learn a new language too. If you'd like to know more about how this works, I have a free StoryLearning kit for you. It's in the video description. Click the link. That'll take you to a page where you can download the free StoryLearning kit and see how all of this works. Now, where were we?
They wanted to get the work done. If they could put their leg up and after doing it in Cholloo. That's all the words they had for me, Autumn.
What was he saying exactly? Did you get that? See, in this place, the ancestral language did not succumb to English until after a big famine in the 1840s. So if you're looking for the closest accent to the original language, well, here it is. They really have a unique R sound, and the grammar is just strange. To be fair, you probably won't hear many townies speaking this way.
If you were a farmer in Ireland today with a shed full of cattle, and you were trying to finish them to sell them at whatever price that the factories would give you, and perhaps maybe the prices being coerced in such a way that it's very difficult for you to make money.
Don't just guess the country, that's too easy. What region is he from? It's an accent from the most westerly county of Ireland, Kerry. They call it the jewel in the Irish accent crown. Many people in Kerry are still fluent Irish speakers, and I'm pretty sure their English accent mimics the Irish language. There is one thing about this accent that stands out the most. See if you can hear it.
I'm making some coffee and having some waffles. Oh, they're absolutely amazing. I picked them up in town. Hey, don't use all your hot water now. I've got an interview later in Starbucks.
It's so rhythmic. All the syllables have the same stress, and this feature is unique to a very particular part of the UK. Know where it is?
When is Michael Myers from Halloween? Hubby's lending me his overalls. Stephen's going as Slim Shady. And Callum's going as Heisenberg from Breaking Bad.
Well, if you're not British, it would be very hard to guess the exact area. So here's a clip from a different region. You see, these guys have a certain saying that's a dead giveaway.
But I looks at her and I yells, "Excuse me, love, whose coat is that jacket there then?"
It is, of course, the one and only Welsh accent. As you might expect, the Welsh English accent comes directly from the Welsh language itself. There are many versions of a Welsh accent, and they're hard to pronounce, so forgive me for just saying Welsh. And if you got the exact region right for the first clip,
where are you from? Llanelli.
Congrats, you now get to brag in the comments. I do not think you're going to get the next one though.
Living a countryman's lifestyle, to be honest with you. I couldn't fit into it. I just wouldn't get it. I just wouldn't fit into the culture, if you know what I mean. I just couldn't do it.
They'd only get by 2-3 days on it. I reckon if they had a choice to press a button and get rid of all of us all instead of doing it in 2 seconds.
If they could bomb us out, they would.
No one knows for sure where they originally came from, but they've been part of Irish societies for centuries. And right now there are only about 33,000 people on British soil who still speak this way. There is DNA evidence that they descend from the very earliest settlers in Ireland from 6,000 years ago. In fact, one theory is that they're actually pre-Gaelic. There's some pretty ancient vocabulary that shows up in their idioms.
When we go into a camp or like a field or something, put us off straight away. Yeah, the people stand like, when are you leaving? Fucking lot of idiots.
Well, there is your last and final clue. I'm talking about, of course, the nomadic Irish travellers, or gypsies. These fascinating Irish people have a unique English accent that has a bit of Romani vocabulary here and there, which is interesting because they don't have Romani DNA. And what's even cooler is that they also speak a secret language that they don't want outsiders to understand. Now it's your turn. How many did you manage to guess? Please share your wins in the comments. And when you're done, well, it's time for your next challenge, which is the crazy world of American accents that you almost certainly don't know. That's over here in this video.